that like as part of your, just so people aren't wondering.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
why are they not attending to it? We're trying our best to get it.
Okay.
And also, don't forget to invite everybody, the candidates, to maybe even come forward.
Yeah, I think I would. I was going to have them come up here
Yeah,
and
and
face
we'll applaud.
face the camera, and then say
Okay.
that's your appreciation. No more applause after that.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
David, you got 65 in the house right now.
All right, we're good. Thank you, sir. Do we have a count? Yeah, Gordon.
It is. So nobody has anything to do with it. So for like 10 years, I've been going to the same Super Bowl party, and I go there, and then I leave at halftime. Time to get home to watch the halftime show, and depending on the score, I may not watch the end of it. Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. I'm a football fan, and I think it's awful. Yeah, I think it's awful. I'm a football fan, and I can handle the 6 hours of commentary to come up with those games. Yeah, it's over. New England and Seattle play today. Yeah, you don't care. I'm actually a big soccer guy, but I got sucked into American football. That's what it is. Are we 9:15?
Yep.
Okay.
No, it shouldn't be. Yes.
I have a prayer. So maybe after the full board, I should say a prayer. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I came prepared.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to the annual meeting, 2 weeks delayed, but we are going to have it today. I will call our session to order and recognize Elizabeth for an opening prayer.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel for the annual meeting of St. Philip's Episcopal Church, for the renewal and mission of your church, O God. We lift up to you in thanksgiving those who have put themselves forward for leadership on the Vestry. Jeff Ambrose, Frank Duckworth, Mike Dunham, Kieran Mehta, and Carrie Mosher. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the previous annual meeting, and I'll recognize Lynn to make that motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the last year's.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by no. It carries. Thank you. The first order of business is the election of the Vestry class of 2028. Before I introduce the candidates, I want to say a word to those who are watching on live stream. You're able to vote electronically. You have received an email with a link that will take you to the ballot. If for some reason that email failed, it's available on Facebook. If that has failed, you can go to the website. Yeah. Yeah. So you have your opportunity to vote, and I want to express appreciation to Holly Vota for all the hard work that she has done to make the remote voting possible. Thank you. I want to recognize those who are on your ballot. I'm going to ask them to come to the front and stand so you can see them, and so those watching online will be able to see them because the camera only catches the first section of pews here. Jeff Ambrose, Mike Dunham, Frank Duckworth, Kieran Mehta, Carrie Mosher. Here he comes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So please express your appreciation to these folks for their willingness to stand. Thank you. You may be returned to your seats. That was your opportunity to express appreciation to them. Once the vote has been tallied and the results made public, we will not applaud at that point. So that was your opportunity to thank them. Our nominating committee has ballots that they will now distribute to you. You will mark up to 3 candidates, no more than 3, and then we will collect those immediately, and they will retire to count the ballots. To those who are casting your ballots live stream, you have until 9:45 to make that transaction. So. Ed, if there are any pencils back there, you might grab a few in case someone needs a marking tool.
I'm just going to let you all know as well that we are aware of the little high-pitched noise that you may be hearing every once in a while. We are on it trying to repair it, but so far no luck. Hopefully it is not too distracting for you.
Okay. Once you have marked your ballot, if you will pass it to the center aisle, the nominating committee members will collect those. If you will, those who are just coming in, if you'll mark your ballot, please, and pass it to the center aisle, we'll receive those. Does anyone need a ballot? Everyone has a ballot? Okay. Are there any ballots outstanding? There's some in the back. Molly, you got that back? Okay. Wait a minute. There's one in the back there. Molly. Got it. Okay. We have received all of the ballots. Excellent. Then we will continue with our meeting. Thank you. The next order of business is the senior warden report. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity of serving on our vestry and for the past 2 years as senior warden. It has been an honor and a privilege, and I thank you. How does one evaluate the health and viability of a congregation? One could take a business model approach and consider the financial integrity of the church. By this standard, St. Philip's is doing very well, in no small part because of your generosity and faithfulness in stewardship. Our income exceeds our expenses, and because of that, the vestry feels comfortable moving forward with initiatives that enhance the life of our congregation, such as the solar panels. One could do an assessment based on the strength of leadership. St. Philip's excels here as well. Through the spiritual guidance and nurture of our rector, through the quality of music offerings by our music director and choir, through the active and energetic ministry to our children and youth, through the tireless contributions of our support staff and office volunteers, through the work and commitment of your vestry, the leadership of our church is in very good hands. If one was to judge the health of St. Philip's through its ministries and outreach, then they would have to pack a lunch, because more is going on than can be captured in a few sentences. The Tuesday work crew under Mike's leadership, the towel ministry, the shop at St. Philip's, our involvement with and support of a multitude of community-based ministries, all these and more point to a congregation who takes seriously the call to be Christ's hands and feet in a world in need. What if we used an intergenerational yardstick? Again, we meet the test. The faithfulness and wisdom and institutional stability provided by our senior members cannot be gainsaid. They are the bedrock of our strength. But they are also complemented by the energy and vitality and future-oriented commitment of our young families, who nudge us to think and act creatively to an ever-changing constituency. All of these, financial stability, quality leadership, programmatic vibrancy, intergenerational texture, are necessary to a healthy congregation, but they are not sufficient. That is, the mark of a healthy congregation is not just the sum of these parts. There's an intangible element that I think must be considered, and that is that St. Philip's is just a fun place to be. We are here week by week, not out of obligation or guilt-ridden burden. We are here because this is a place we want to be, and St. Philip's is doing a work of which we want to be a part. This is the intangible, as much as the other factors, that says to any who will take notice, this is a healthy and vibrant people of God. Mike is not able to be here, so Gordon is going to present the junior warden report.
Mike says, and I quote, "I would be remiss if I did not thank my Tuesday morning volunteers who work Tuesday mornings taking on many tasks that keep St. Philip's a functioning facility. Without them and their efforts, numerous needs of St. Philip's would not be met." In 2025, there was the replacement of 5 furnace units and 2 50-ton air conditioners. Mike's short and sweet, by the way. Ductwork that had failed was repaired. The duct system within the sacristy and the office sections of the complex was clean. Drainage issues along the west side of the wall of the yak were addressed. A sump pump was installed and addressed heavy rain events that affected the undercroft. Cleaning company was brought on board and is doing a fantastic job, I might add. The security system was upgraded and electronic locks added with security cameras. And in the playground area, climbing walls were created for the kids. This is a bit of a summary of the many tasks that were done in 2025. I appreciate all of you that have assisted. And I would like to just take a moment to praise Mike Wallace for the work he's done. And he's an all-around nice guy on top of that. So, thank you.
Treasurer's report. Bob?
Good morning, good morning. Okay, before we go any further, if you don't have your giving statement, pick it up. Save us about 75 cents. But there's a lot of them that are going to be picked up. That's no big deal. I think we can afford it. We did have a change in the treasurer's operations late last year. William decided that he'd had enough, and he gave up the job of being the contributions treasurer. I picked up that part of it, but not for long, because we're going to make some changes in some of the systems that we're doing, and we're also going to bring on some paid help to in the way of a bookkeeper later on this year. But for right now, we're all fat, dumb, and happy. So this year, in 2025, we really were blessed, as several people have said, with a pretty healthy financial year. On the operations side, we had, we don't like to say profit in a nonprofit organization, but we did have a year where our income exceeded our expenses by the tune of $80,000. We had some major positive contributors to this result. On the income side, we had a lot of income from non-pledged donations. That is, people that go to church, give us money, we know who you are, but you don't sign a pledge card. That's fine. Still take your money. That's great. Anyway, it's hard to do, but we have a budget for that, and the amount of money we got over what we expected was like $30,000. Also, our investment income was pretty good last year, a little bit over budget as well. On the expense side, the major positive contributor was actually in the personnel area. We did have to say goodbye to Edna through her death in April. And yes, on the one side, that lowers our personnel side, but we went ahead, as they've already told you, we have a cleaning service, so they pretty much offset. So, but we did have a lower than expected personnel cost. Apart from the day-to-day operations, though, we have several what we call restricted funds, which is money that we've set aside for something that we're going to do later, and they just hold money from year to year. So, of course, we've been talking about the centennial for seems like forever. We actually have a fund to pay for the activities of the Cornerstone Centennial, including the cost of the auction in April. Okay. We also created a fund to hold donations for the auction coming up. And I want to point out that all of the donations that people make to the auction goes to the charities. It's not used to pay for the auction. That's separate. Okay, so give generously. I think Gordon mentioned we spent quite a bit of money on the capital improvement side on the HVAC to the tune of $100,000. So, I mean, the systems, they gradually age out, and we're not done yet. I don't know how much we're going to spend next year, but it's absolutely a right investment. So, let's look forward to 2026. If you have, I don't know if you guys picked up a copy of the budget, but if you look on there, we are budgeting a $40,000 loss for next year. What that means is we're still going to get a lot of money, but we're going to spend even more than that. That's all it means. We are projecting a little bit more in income, which is good, but we're planning some pretty good sized increases in expense that more than offset that goodness. To pay for some of these cornerstone activities, we are allocating some money from the operational budget for that. I mentioned that we are going to be contracting with a bookkeeper later on this year. We also decided to increase our outreach. And also, a church this big, well, it doesn't matter how big you are. Diocese says you have to get an external audit every few years. Those people do not come cheap, so we have to spend some money on that. So, with the exception of perhaps the cornerstone activities, it's really difficult to predict how these items might affect future years' budgets beyond next year. So it's not completely accurate to say, oh, 2026 is a one-off year. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not a doomsayer, but I'm not saying, oh, things are going to be great the next year. I'm just saying we had a really good year last year. I wouldn't sweat anything about next year. We can all sleep well at night. It's no big deal. Does anybody have any questions about what happened last year or anything about the budget for 2026?
That's a good sign.
Okay. Just
Well done, Bob.
take that as an count the beans.
The congregations do not have a representative to the diocese. However, one of our members has been on several of the committees of the diocese and is able to come back and report to the vestry the activities and interest and the things that are happening beyond our church. So I've asked Jan if she would take a few moments to let you know what's going on with the broader Episcopal world here.
Good morning. I've been honored to serve on the Executive Council for the Western North Carolina Diocese. And amazingly, I'm entering my third and final year of my term, which makes me kind of sad, but it's been a wonderful experience and we have an exciting year coming ahead of us. I've also been blessed to serve as the vice chair of that council this past year, where I serve the bishop to chair the council meetings when he's not available, and to, in matters of his request, I work in his behalf. And at his request and confirmed by the council this past weekend, I was elected to serve as vice chair for this coming year as well. The council is charged to govern and oversee the business of the diocese, much like the vestry does for the parish, and to work with Bishop Jose and his staff on matters pertaining to the financial and business side of the diocese when convention is not in session. So that's kind of what we do. We meet every other month. We do some homework, and we now have some committees outside that 2-hour meeting, so we're going to get some real work done this coming year. Some things I thought you might find interesting from this past year. A lot of people want to know what's going on with our cathedral. All Souls will return. It's slow. Trying to restore a building that was built in 1896 by George Vanderbilt and is on the historic register is not easy. They've got a historical architect, and Dean Sarah said yesterday, I finally believe we've turned the corner and we can see a picture of us coming home. Right now they are still worshiping in St. George's in West Asheville, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel for at least phase 1 to get them back into their worship space. They have been able to hold a few special services. They held carols during Christmas. They're going to have 2 Good Friday services. They're going to have a Holy Saturday service. All of those complete with porta potties because there's no plumbing in the building. But they're doing quite well, and plans are underway for an egg hunt in the village this coming Easter. So things are starting to revitalize in the village. I was at Lake Logan this past weekend for our retreat. We welcomed 7 new council members, and we worked to try and get them integrated before this weekend, so we had a very productive couple of days. Lake Logan, even with the devastation of Hurricane Helene, last summer they held their full complement of camps, and if anyone hasn't been to Lake Logan, go find your spiritual place up there. I mean, it is just amazing. And they actually have a Young at Heart retreat the end of August, so you might want to go up there for a few days and just hike the trails of Lake Logan. You also might not know, but Nancy Harger has been on the board of Lake Logan for 2 terms. She just got off her 2nd term and is now serving as the non-voting secretary for the Lake Logan board. And Joe Bisher then took her place on the board. So we have great representation at Lake Logan. And even before that, we had Marcia Millar. So you think about all that history that St. Philip's combines with Lake Logan. And it all makes sense that they're one of our charities for our auction in August. ERD is continuing to support the diocese for the recovery and restoration as a part of Hurricane Helene, and Reverend Kelsey Davis is doing an amazing job in that across the diocese. If you have not seen her report, it was in the along the way email, not this week, but the past week. So if y'all don't get that from the diocese, there's a link in the epistle on how you can sign up, and once a week you get an email that tells what's going on all around the diocese. Kind of interesting to know what's going on around our diocese and within our own deanery. We do have a new CFO. Carol Tannenbaum left after 8 years of trying to herd the wildcats, and Cliff Hudgens came on January 1st, and he's amazing. What a God gift he is. He's Recovering Lutheran, he actually became an Episcopalian in 2020, has a deep and wide finance background, both in the church and in for-profit businesses. And as we, St. Philip's, are healthy financially, so is our diocese. In 2025, the pledge commitment to the diocese, which is 10%, as Bob articulated, the entire diocese did 9.8% of their pledge to the diocese, which is just amazing, especially from where we were a few years ago. So things are healthy financially at the diocese as well. I mentioned earlier that at the retreat we did establish 3 subcommittees to do work for the diocese and for the diocesan staff. So I'm really excited about some of the things that we're going to do this coming year. And then for you college football fans, I don't know if any of you know Fernando Mendoza, like #1 NFL draft pick, Heisman Trophy winner, head of the IU football team that won the national championship. That's Bishop Jose's cousin. Who knew? So it's a real joy to meet people from across our deanery and across our diocese. And Nancy and Joe can attest to how wonderful it is to see the joy of the rest of our diocese. So if any of you are called to find a place to serve in the deanery or the diocese, talk to Elizabeth. It's so worthwhile. And I'll be happy to plug you in wherever you might want to. So thanks.
Elizabeth.
Right. Before I recognize our outgoing vestry members, I want to recognize that today, you may not know this, but today has been declared the St. Philip's Episcopal Church Cornerstone Centennial Day. In our first city council meeting of the year, that day was declared and a proclamation was made, and so let me read the proclamation. St. Philip's Episcopal Church Cornerstone Centennial. Whereas the cornerstone of St. Philip's Episcopal Church's historic building was laid in 1926, and whereas for over 100 years, St. Philip's Episcopal Church has provided pastoral support, fellowship, and spiritual inspiration to generations of families in Brevard. And whereas the historic church building stands as a testament to the dedication and vision of its early members and continues to serve as a gathering place for beautiful liturgy, music, and religious activities. And whereas St. Philip's Episcopal Church has demonstrated unwavering commitment to our community through outreach to those in need, and in 2026 will make a gift to 2 camps serving children in our community. And whereas in 2026, St. Philip's Episcopal Church will celebrate this momentous centennial milestone with a year-long series of events, including an evensong liturgy, historical programs, the publication of a book of history, and community gatherings that honor the past while building toward the future. And whereas the church's centennial celebration, including a special service of acknowledgement addressing our tragic history of slavery and hopes for a renewed future, reflects the congregation's commitment to honest reflection, reconciliation, and continued service to all citizens of Brevard. And now, therefore, I, Maureen Coppola, Mayor of the City of Brevard, do hereby proclaim February 8th, 2026 as St. Philip's Episcopal Church Cornerstone Centennial Day. All right, so now, and I want to say that you may have noticed that we skipped over the rector's report, and that means you have to stay for church to hear it. It is a part of my sermon, so please do stay so you can hear my report of how we've done this year. So I want to recognize our outgoing vestry members, and as is our tradition, our outgoing vestry members will receive a beautiful tower made by our own Craig gift of service. And so this is mine, but we have yours over in the transept for you to pick up after the service. But I want to recognize our outgoing vestry members. Joe Bisher, if you want to come forward, if you want to come forward. Jan Melman. And David Yeager. All three of these saints have served us so well these past 3 years. I cannot tell you the wisdom and kindness they have shared with me and shared with our leadership. Each of them, I wouldn't hesitate, and I didn't hesitate, to pick up the phone and call and say, I need your advice, I need your help, and I will continue to do that. These three are also doers, which is, sometimes rare out there, to have a whole class of people who do lots of things. And I think you three would say as well, that we have accomplished a lot in these last 3 years. So many thanks to each of you.
It's been fun.
Thank you.
Good.
It is fun.
Now, if you want, you can go get your tower, or you can come back up and get it. We'll drop it. You're done. Yes. All right, and now I'm going to ask Brad Wilson to come up and help me out here. We are now going to present what we call the Philip Award. Now, the Philip Award each year goes to our leadership who are rolling off, retiring, moving on, occasionally quitting from leadership in different ministries of St. Philip.
before I do this, I want to thank Paula and her committee, Molly Tart and Dennis Bellina, for their good, hard work in doing this. Your next vestry class is Jeff Ambrose, Mike Dunham, and Frank Duckworth. We appreciate all of them who stood and look forward to the service of these fine members of our congregation.
Thank you. Thank you
you.
all for the election, and we look forward to ministry together.
Now we come to question and answer time. If you have inquiries about anything having to do with the church. Yes.
No questions.
You have to talk right into the top of it.
Hello.
Ask him to state
No
their name
questions,
so
just
Susan
a
gets it
comment.
for the record.
I'm going to quote
This was
an infamous speaker who spoke a couple of weeks ago. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Brevard was without form and void of Episcopalians. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the mountains. And God said, let there be a church, and called it St. Philip's. And it was good, very good. This is the beginning of a centennial celebration. We had a potluck dinner recently, last night. I think I was there. So everybody show up. This is supposed to be a real Jubilee celebration year. And thanks for all of you all.
If you will state your name for our recording secretary, please. Thank you.
Does she know who that was?
Yes, we did.
No kidding. It's Bill Melman. And I just want to say that William got all that applause for being treasurer for 14 years, but he has done thousands and thousands of grab bars for the towel ministry. And there's a skill to that. And we have, sadly, I have to admit, he taught me how to do it. But we're going to miss him, and we are still behind the 8 ball with the amount of work that didn't get done during COVID. And so please, if you have any inclination at all to learn how to use one of those drills that put screws in the wood, we sure could use help. So yeah, come see Don Stubbs or myself, and we have one new prospect sitting here this morning that I'm going to spend some time with. But the towel ministry needs help. Thank you.
Bill, do you want to say a word about what the towel ministry does, just in case people, I mean, you talked about the grab bars, but who does it do it for? Who's our...
Well, we get most of our referrals from care partners. Our mission is to help people stay in their homes. So we build wheelchair ramps, we put in handrails, down steps, we do grab bars, obviously that's our #1 product. And we also have invented a thing called walker steps. If you're on a traditional walker or a ramp, it's not really very safe, especially in the winter. So we've developed steps that have a little 4-inch rise and a 22-inch run so that the walker and the walking person can fit on each step as they go down. And it's a challenge in this county with the topography. It's 4 inches per step. You can imagine how many steps we need at somebody's front porch. So that's what we do.
Thank you, Bill.
People or for wider audience? Just say people get the service?
Oh yeah, we have no criteria as far as we don't do any screening. Anybody who needs that service and comes to us for it, however they get here, gets it sooner or later. Unfortunately, at the moment it's
Sooner or later, we all need it.
That's right.
If you want to see an example of their amazing work, come and see the ramp that they put behind our house. It is phenomenal. And I thank you all very much.
Since we're recruiting,
State your name, please.
say that again?
State your name.
Oh, Diane Nelson. David so eloquently talked about the intergenerational health of our congregation. And one of the things that will help our intergenerational health flourish is by participating in our children's programs as an adult helper. I don't know if any of you know, most of you probably know this, we have Godly Play every week at 9:15 to 10:15 downstairs. We have 3 to 4 people who are the storytellers, which I think is the most intimidating role that most people have when they think about children's ministries. But we desperately need doorkeepers. It is Elizabeth can speak more to this, but it is a church rule, safe church rule, to have 2 adults in the room. There are many Sundays for the rest of this year, we do not have a second adult in the room. If you go to Coffee and Conversations, coming to Godly Play as the doorkeeper is like being in Coffee and Conversations, but with little people. So think it coffee and juice, coffee and water, or juice and conversation, or water and conversations where I was going. Thank you. So as a parent of young kids, one other parent in the back can probably second my motion, Brandon. Please, our kids love this church, but they need to see more of you on a regular basis to feel welcome here. And being a doorkeeper, there's no prep. It's just show up. It's an hour of your time. You get to go on the playground for a little bit, get to serve snack, and get to listen to a Bible story. Thank you.
And I'll just say, if you'd rather spend time with teenagers or middle schoolers, that class also needs help. Other questions?
Okay, thank you so much for your attention, for your presence, and we will stand adjourned.